What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with Tech Daily. So remember the LG G6? It seems like a weird question to ask about a device that's essentially only 3 months old, but at this point, it may as well be 3 years old. After being pushed aside by the hype of the Galaxy S8 and seemingly not surviving long enough to be a competitor against the OnePlus 5, the poor LG G6 seems to have already fallen into obscurity. It certainly won't be on anyone's Christmas wish list. It probably won't even be on anyone's summer wish list at this point, seeing as you can get one on sites like Swappa and eBay right now, in good condition, mind you, for $300, which is crazy for a couple-month-old flagship smartphone. But I'm here to say that in my time using the G6 on and off for the last 3 months, I think this genuinely may be one of the best smartphone deals of the year. It's still a top-notch phone with above-average features all the way around, and while it might be lacking in some regard, especially at this stage in the game, the LG G6 is certainly worth considering. Right off the bat, because I know I'm probably going to get comments about this, yes, my G6 is blue. This is just a skin from Slick Wraps. I think it looks pretty cool and definitely makes the phone stand out, and if you're interested in skinning your own device, I'll leave a link in the video description along with a code for $5 off any order. The reason I personally went with a skin instead of case is simply because the phone feels really nice in the hand, and I essentially wanted nothing to get in the way. It's a flagship phone with a flagship build quality. It feels exactly like you'd expect, and in my opinion, I think it feels better than something like the S8. It just generally feels like a more solid, sturdy, thick piece of hardware. Now, speaking of hardware, obviously the main attraction for any flagship smartphone is the screen, and the LG G6 generally doesn't disappoint in that regard. The 2880 by 1440 QHD display looks good from every angle, and while 3 months ago, a lot of us were kind of confused by the elongated display and weird aspect ratio, at this point I can say I'm a fan. It's something I've gotten used to, and it definitely feels right. Those rounded corners also grew on me too. I remember seeing them in leaks and renders and thinking that it sort of didn't look quite right, but again, I'm a fan now, and I think it gives the phone a unique profile, and it's probably something future smartphone manufacturers will mimic. With all that being said, does the screen on the LG G6 look as good as the S8 and S8 Plus? Certainly not. I mean, the Super AMOLED display from Samsung is the best display on the market, of course, but generally speaking, the difference between the devices isn't necessarily eye-opening. It's noticeable, sure, but I would say marginally so. Casual users will find the G6 display great for everyday uses and needs. As far as the specs go, it is true that the LG G6 was launched just a bit too early to have the opportunity to ship with a new Snapdragon 835 chip, so it ended up getting stuck with the 821. That's a product of being first to the market in 2017, but I think Marquez brought up a good point in his Q&A video when talking about the OnePlus 5 when he said that it's 2017. Phones are generally great, and benchmarks overall shouldn't really be a deciding factor when it comes to purchasing decisions. It should lean towards more everyday use and functionality, and the LG G6, for everyday use, has been stellar. Everything is quick and snappy. It feels really fluid, apps load quickly, multitasking is smooth, games run really well. With each incremental upgrade in processors, or with each additional gigabyte of RAM, we're really only going to see a small bump up in performance. At this point, does a phone need the latest processor and 8 gigabytes of RAM to handle day-to-day stuff? Not even a little bit. And as far as battery life goes, that's also always been really consistent for me too. A full day of use is a non-issue with this phone. The other important thing I want to mention about the G6 is the camera, or cameras, since there's 2 of them. The dual camera setup was something LG pushed a lot with this phone, and it's obviously something a lot of other manufacturers are doing now too, albeit in different ways. Apple and OnePlus utilize the dual cameras in order to render DSLR-like portrait shots, for example, but LG's second camera is a wide-angle lens, which is great for capturing big group photos, large landscapes, tight rooms, among other things, and I personally have found this to be a really useful feature. It's no secret that just standard side-by-side pictures with a bunch of smartphones are going to yield slightly different pictures, where some look good to some people and others look good to other people. But an additional feature like the wide-angle lens makes the G6 stand out from the crowd, and while it may not exactly be a selling point for this device, it has been a standout feature, and it's something I've found myself utilizing more than I originally thought. All in all, the LG G6 has been a wonderful phone. It's kind of sad to see just how little people value this device after only having been out for a few months. I mean, I'd say that's a product of the industry moving super quickly, but I think it more has to do with awful timing and doing some things kind of well instead of doing a lot of things really well. Obviously, there are a bunch of great smartphones on the market nowadays, with more being launched every month. The G6 will, of course, continue to fall out of people's minds, and it's really unfortunate since this is a great device. I still haven't even seen another person who has this phone out in the real world, and frankly, I'd be shocked if I saw someone using it. But if you are in the market for a new device now, and you might be a little shy on cash, but still want a solid quality name brand device that's going to last you a couple years, for $300 or even less than that, the G6 is a ridiculous deal in my opinion. Almost too good to pass up if you find yourself not really needing the latest and greatest. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the poor forgotten LG G6 in the comments below, and also let me know what your next phone will be. Also, be sure to follow Tech Daily on Twitter and subscribe to the Tech Daily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.